While you've been here in the country, in the capital, northeast part of Delhi, there have been violent clashes. Police have been killed, some demonstrators, 9 deaths so far, we hear, and about 100 plus injured. What did Prime Minister Modi say to you about this amended citizenship law? And how concerned are you about this kind of religious violence?
So we did talk about religious freedom, and I will say that the Prime Minister was incredible on what he told me. He wants people to have religious freedom, and very strongly. And he said that in India they have worked very hard to have great and open religious freedom. And if you look back and look at what's going on relative to other places especially, but they have really worked hard on religious freedom. I asked that question in front of a very large group of people today, and he talked about it. We talked about it for a long time, and I really believe that's what he wants. As far as the individual attack, I heard about it, but I didn't discuss that with him. That's up to India. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hi, sir. Emily Goodman with thedailymail.com. I was wondering, do you think justice was served in the Harvey Weinstein case?
So I was never a fan of Harvey Weinstein, as you know. In fact, he said he was going to work hard to defeat me in the election. How did that work out, by the way? I'm trying to figure that out. He was a person I didn't never liked. I don't know too much about the case because, as you know, I've been over here between traveling and being at meetings almost every hour of the day, every minute of the day. I haven't been able to really see too much of it. But I was just not a fan of his. I knew him a little bit, not very well. I knew him because he was in New York. Not a person that I like. I will say the people that liked him were the Democrats. Michelle Obama loved him. Hillary Clinton loved him. And he gave tremendous money to the Democrats, and I guess my question is, will the Democrats be asking for that money back? Because he gave a lot of money to the Democrats, and, it's too bad, but that's the way it worked out. Yeah, Peter?
I just want to follow up on that very quickly, if I can, Mr. President. Then I have a question that I wanted to ask you. But just on the Harvey Weinstein situation, this is being viewed as a milestone for the Me Too movement. What message can you, as president, deliver to women in America who are still afraid to come forward and share their stories of sexual harassment and assault?
Well, again, I don't know the actual results. I haven't seen too much because I've been in India, as you know.
Aside from this case,
I think that from the standpoint of women, I think it was a great thing. It was a great victory, and sends a very strong message. Very, very strong message, Peter. Yeah, please.
Can I follow up with my question? I just wanted to follow up on hers quickly. Can I, on coronavirus specifically, Mr. President, in 2014, when the Ebola situation was very concerning to so many Americans, you tweeted, "Ebola patient will be brought to the U.S. in a few days. Now I know for sure that our leaders are incompetent." In all caps, you wrote, "Keep them out of here." More than 20 Americans have now been brought back to the United States with coronavirus. By your own measure, does that mean that your government has been incompetent?
No,
are you pleased with the response?
There's a big difference, in case you don't know, between Ebola and coronavirus. Big difference. It's like day and night. And I felt that we should bring them back there. Ebola and coronavirus. Big difference. It's like day and night. And I felt that we should bring them back. They're Americans. We should bring them back. With Ebola, it's very explosive. It's very terrible. We're making tremendous strides on Ebola with the things that we're doing, as you know.
Isn't some of the money that you're requesting...
Let me answer the question. But there's a vast difference in bringing, especially in around 14, was that 14 or 12? And at that time, nobody had ever even heard of Ebola or ever conceived of something where people would disintegrate. And we're still working on Ebola. We're doing the vaccine. Excuse me.
Though, right?
Yeah, we're doing a vaccine. We're doing a lot of things having to do with Ebola. We're not forgetting about Ebola. That's a horrible thing. But we have that now very much under control, other than certain parts of the Congo where they're having war and we can't get in. So we're still working on that. But as far as what we're doing with the new virus, I think that we're doing a great job. I felt that, and the decision was made in Japan, let these Americans come back and we'll see where they are, but they were immediately put into quarantine. There's no problem with it whatsoever. They're all in quarantine. And as you know, I approved $2.5 billion for just that purpose and also for working and getting a vaccine.
For clarity, those with Ebola, when they were brought here, were quarantined, and all the Americans also survived,
I know,
right?
but the level of death with Ebola, at the time it was a virtual 100%.
But
You're
none
gonna
of the
die.
Americans who came here.
There's a very good chance you're not going to die. It's just it's very much the opposite. You're talking about 1 or 2%, whereas in the other case it was a virtual 100%. Now they have it. They have studied it. They know very much. In fact, we're very close to a vaccine.